was not aware of that.
I was completely surprised. I mean, I had no idea.
I don't think a lot of people know about this situation. I didn't even know about it.
But they all know about it now after 10 Investigates exposed racial inequality written into Florida law. 10 Investigates' Jenna Bourne has been saying the quiet part out loud about Florida's Bright Future scholarships since last month. And Jenna's several leaders are calling for state law to change after seeing your investigation.
And that includes the former state senator who introduced the bill in 2000. For 24 years, the law has given certain students different standards to qualify for Bright Future scholarships, depending on their race.
I knew I wanted to be in politics since I was 5 years old.
Okay, prepare yourself, because what Malik Moore is about to say is kind of precious.
I had a law practice in my room with teddy bears. My idea of reading as a kid was statute books and a Black's Law Dictionary.
He knew tuition would be a burden for his family, and he hoped Florida's Bright Futures scholarship program would be the answer. Students who achieve certain benchmarks can get their in-state tuition partially or fully covered. Moore says he didn't qualify because of his SAT score.
I applied for Bright Futures, couldn't get that. I was never a good test taker, but I had good grades. I was a well-rounded student.
We found there's a persistent racial gap when it comes to who gets Bright Futures. Look at this orange line. That's the percentage of Hispanic Bright Futures recipients. That number has tripled since the scholarship program started. This green line is the percentage of Black students getting those scholarships. It's been stagnant for nearly 3 decades. Let's take a closer look at these numbers. The latest state data shows 37% of students in Florida public schools are Hispanic, and they get 28% of Bright Future scholarships. 21% of students in Florida schools are Black, but they get 6% of the scholarships.
It's disheartening to know that there hasn't been any movement for African American students.
10 Investigates reported last month that a state law passed in 2000 may be partially to blame. Out of the 5 College Board national recognition programs, including the National African American Recognition Program, only students in the National Hispanic Recognition Program get their test score requirements waived. Can you think of any reason why that would be?
I can.
Florida A&M University's VP for Student Affairs tells us Bright Future scholarships can make a big difference for student success. We're sitting on the campus of the only public, historically Black university in Florida. How have you seen this Bright Futures disparity play out here?
It makes a difference on the retention, progression, and graduation of students, because you may have students having to take a job to work, maybe take less credit hours, even sit out a semester because they can't afford to go to college.
Should this still be law in 2024?
No, this should not be law.
And that's coming from the former state senator who introduced this bill 24 years ago, the one that carved out a minimum test score exemption for students in the National Hispanic Recognition Program. Is this law having the effect that you would like it to?
Absolutely not. No, this would have been, my intention at least would have been to have a law which allowed as many minority students who meet certain criteria get into our state university system.
The Florida legislature unanimously approved that bill, by the way.
I wish this would have been pointed out 10 years ago, 15 years ago, if the trajectory was to give one group an advantage, the other group to not move in the right direction. That should have been corrected a long time ago. No, the legislature needs to look at these numbers and fix it.
State Rep Diane Hart says she's in.
That's a no-brainer. Why not allow Black children that opportunity as well?
As she runs for re-election in Hillsborough County, she says she's working on writing a bill. It would expand Bright Future's minimum test score exemption to include students in the National African American Recognition Program. What would you say to other legislators who might argue that waiving minimum test score requirements for more people will make Bright Futures too expensive to continue?
Really? We seem to print money in Tallahassee, so I don't think we really have a problem with creating dollars. When we put billions of dollars into allowing major corporations to get huge tax breaks.
Oh, and remember Malik Moore?
You can't dictate a person's future based off of a standardized test. I ended up with a master's degree.
Yeah, he's Representative Hart's chief of staff now.
Show me where you put your money and I'll show you what you care about. We spend so much money imprisoning people, but yet we claim we're the best state. We're the freest state. How can you be free if you don't even have the freedom to go to school?
If a bill gets approved by the state legislature and governor, the soonest it could take effect would be summer of 2025. That means the class of 26 would be the first to feel its impact. In the studio, Jenna Bourne, 10 Investigates.
Jenna created her own database showing who's qualifying for Bright Futures, who's getting the scholarships, and how much that program has cost over the years. You can explore the numbers yourself right now on our 10 Tampa Bay app.